Welcome back, Mere Mortalites, to another edition of the Mere Mortals in Motion. Today we have week 4 of the running phase, of 12 weeks of the running phase in totality. Once again, go check out the foundations work and the second episode in the Mere Mortals in Motion, where I talk about why, in terms of why I'm doing this particular podcast, this conversation, why it's split up into the 12 weeks, etc. What we try and do here is look into the details around what the day-to-day looks like in the particular weeks, today being week 4. And so I'm going to share, but in an interesting plot twist, I'm going to go first to the day-to-day before I show you the summary. And there's a very, very good reason for that. And so while I'll share the screen, I'll also be talking through it as well. So hopefully, if you are just listening to this, it also makes sense. I'm also putting this together as well in the Mere Mortals website as well, under training, if you want to go and see all the details from preceding weeks as well. But week 4, in summary, was a week completely off. So if you've been following along from week 3, it ended up being a complete write-off. Predominantly sickness in the family. So, little spiel, came back from a trip to Melbourne, which was a wedding of a very good friend of mine. And lots of people, someone might have been sick, and I myself personally got sick first. Then it was a whole family who went down, and so that includes my little baby girl, and dealing with the first time of sickness, and we're talking about fitness and healthier. Yeah, it was no joke, it was no fun, and undoubtedly something was going to be dropping. And here it was a fitness, it was running that really just absolutely went off the rails. And when I talk about a week off, I'm talking just about a full week off. I got back from Melbourne on the Monday night feeling not too great. Tuesday, I did get to do a workout of sorts in the morning and a slight bit of a run. So I try to get that run in there for the Monday one that had been missed. And as you'll see in a moment, I'll just show a little bit of that, what that ended up looking at. But then for the rest of the week, it was completely off. So Wednesday through to Sunday, completely nothing, no training at all. And so fast to flick over to the view of week 4 training from the run at the end of the week. The plan was to get up to a 29.5 kilometers worth of running. In the end, didn't do the 6 kilometer slow jog on the Monday, did do a 2.5 kilometer slow jog on the Tuesday, no run on the Wednesday, which is supposed to be a tempo run, no run on the Friday, which is a speed run, no long run on the Saturday, which is going to be 10Ks. And so from a running perspective, it was a shuddering halt of going from, I think it was increasing it from 14 kilometers to 19 kilometers, I believe, for the previous week that it was. And then it went all the way to just 2.5. So, it's a pretty significant decline if you want to look at it that way. But, let's look at the learnings. First of all, sometimes it's a reality, right? We put together a phase running here, for instance, but it could be, a bodybuilding phase, could be a powerlifting phase, an Olympic phase, whatever. The reality is life is going to come and hit you with something, and we could either try and over plan for it, which, to be frank, I haven't really over planned for it. I've got one view of how I wanted to train over the next few weeks. And if it wasn't going to be met, I didn't really have any idea as to what I was going to do. And so you'll see me start developing this throughout the next couple of weeks on what am I doing to try to get back onto plan. Do I just go straight back essentially with what the weeks are saying for me to do? Do I back it off? You might be, as you're listening to me here, it's a few days after this particular week. I'm still feeling it. And so there is different ways that I'm trying to tackle this particular learning. For me, the biggest one, calling it out is when you're sick, or your family's sick, you also have to just realize that fitness as a whole is and at least for me, it's a huge part, of my life, and it might be a huge part for you as well. There's also bigger rocks, there's bigger things in life as well that you need to deal with. And sometimes, and, having a baby obviously calls it out even more, in my life, but that becomes a priority, a thing that you need to go and look after. Because if you don't actually end up looking after that and you think that you can acutely still go and do the running or the whatever else you've got planned, it's going to come and bite you back at a much later stage, whether it is through hatred of people or because then you let down others, which are, when you recognize it, of much higher priority. And so really fitness just took a back step. In saying that, it was also for a recovery purpose. And, one of the past 5-7 years, and other mere mortalites might be like this, I would have tried to maximize my training, even with being sick. So, if I can't do 10Ks, but I could do 5Ks I'll do it. And I would have theorized it out to, if you are sweating, well, like that's good. You're sweating out the sickness. And as you go through, probably become wiser to, well, both not wanting to extend the amount of time that I'm sick. That's one aspect of it, and that becomes more valuable now than it is to just go and train. So taking the time off is totally fine. I was still recovering and am still recovering right now from a sort of tendonitis issue on the right elbow. It sort of pair and pair came in and said, thinking in my mind, there's probably a right time just to take some time off and recover and support the family, which is what I did. So learnings for those me immortalized out there, whatever plan you put forward, it's only ever going to be as good a plan as the way that you actually, well, act on it. The action that you take on a particular plan, or otherwise it's useless. But two, that plan is going to be quite often punch in the mouth by life. If you go through a 12-week phase and everything goes perfectly because nothing adjusted, you're either living in a very localized way that you're not being impacted by the world around you. And if that's a good thing, cool. For me, that's not really a possibility. And so things are going to happen. And when they happen, adjust to them. Go from a calm perspective, not a frantic perspective, realize there's things you can do. And for me, at least for this week, for week 4, we say 2.5 kilometers was a total run, and that's okay. As much as we could do, but let's move forward from that and how we improve into the remainder of the running phase, and we'll see where the learnings come. But at the very least, I had no numb toes, so there's another positive as well. Immortalites, I'm going to leave it there. Once again, if any of this helps, although today's might be just a very, very short one, but if you've gone through this particular experience, which I know a lot of people would have, what did you do in running phases? Did you just go straight back to the kilometers that you were doing? Did you try to wind it back slightly? Did you do more frequent runs to get more of your pace back and then up again to sort of the numbers you were doing in terms of volume per kilometer? I'd love to find out. Let me know through a comment, then through an email, but preferably a boostagram. So sending through something of a message with some Satoshis attached. You can do that on all the newer, I'm going to call them, podcasting platforms out there, apps such as Fountain, where you can actually go in there. You can listen to this particular podcast that I'm putting through. You can send through some Satoshis with a comment attached to it. Easiest way we're going to see things like that on the Immortal Podcast. If you follow the rest of the podcast, the book reviews, the Valley for Valley show that Karen does, that's the main way that we'd like to ask for support. So that is how I'm going to be asking it from you as well. But now, Immortalites, I'm going to leave it there for week 4. One out.